Thanks, Eric, and thanks everyone for attending. Yeah, I mean, as Eric indicated, I mean, we're kind of blessed with a wealth of high quality assets within the company. Our flagship is Johnson Tract. We've been steadily advancing that project and have grown a pretty sizable, very high grade resource. It's a little over 1 million ounces at just under 10 grams gold equivalent. It's a bit unique in that it's both high grade gold and high grade zinc and copper together in one deposit. In addition to that, and it's located in a very accessible part of Alaska, we've got a very large land portfolio in the Timmins camp. That's Canada's most established and most productive gold jurisdiction. And in addition to that, we've got a great portfolio in East Yukon within what's emerging to be a pretty significant new district being defined by a snow line. And these are assets we actually have had all along, but have never really talked about until now. And with the growth and advancement of Johnson Tract and really the growth and advancement of all of the assets, it made sense for us to take a strategic look at how we're going to advance them all. And we came up with a spin out whereby we dividend shares of a new company out to our existing shareholders and moving Yukon and Timmins out. So, to Eric's point, we think now is a particularly good time to be thinking about investing in the company. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through sort of why we're doing it and why we think it's a good idea. And then I'll run you through the assets themselves and the two companies that will be the end product here. First and foremost, we see this as a great way to unlock value, create shareholder value. Right now, the market mostly sees us for our Johnson Tract asset. And what that means is the value of our Yukon and Ontario assets really gets overshadowed and is not contributing its full potential to our enterprise value or our market cap. And we think by spinning this out, you will instantly create value. It also allows us to really focus in our management time on Johnson Tract. Within Highgold, we have something serious. We think we have the real deal. It requires more of our 100% focused effort. In addition to that, there's better investor alignment. Some guys like the security and comfort of a real asset that has some visibility on eventual production. Other guys like that raw early stage discovery where you get huge multiples with brand new discovery, and then this better aligns those shareholders with those projects, opens up broader financing opportunities, and ultimately reduces dilution in Highgold and the Johnson Tract. If we're having to fund 2 or 3 major programs elsewhere, that's ultimately diluting interest in something that's already established. So this is what it's going to look like. Highgold, parent company, is going to hang on to Johnson Tract. As I say, we think this is going to unlock value and provide focus. Here is sort of the catalyst going forward. So you really get a lot of activity in both companies. We intend to continue with aggressive exploration drilling in Alaska. We've got a second new discovery on the property. We're hoping to get a resource on that at the end of this year's drilling after we get some more drilling into it. But we also intend to start, and I've already started on this, focus on de-risking the project on the elements which ultimately shorten the path to eventual production. Permitting, engineering, baseline studies. We've done some internal work, and we think there's a really unique opportunity here for a direct shipment mine operation, and I'll walk you through that. As far as spin-out goes, it's got a name already. It's called Onyx Gold Corp. It won't be live until probably June, we think, in terms of when it'll be listed. That's what we're targeting right now. And we hope to list in time to get out and drill on our projects in the Yukon later this summer, and then follow that up with a pretty aggressive program in Ontario, where we've actually made a new discovery. We didn't get much traction on it because of, I think largely because of the state of the markets last year. So, first off, I'll cover Johnson Tract and what we think separates it from the pack. There's a lot of resources out there and deposits out there. It's really about quality. And when we talk about quality, it's not just the grade, it's the grade plus thickness. There aren't that many deposits that are approaching 10 grams. There's far, far fewer that have the width that we have. We have a true thickness that's on the order of 40 meters. That's 10 times thicker than most other high-grade deposits. That translates generally directly to much lower mining cost. You can do underground bulk style mining. The gods were very nice to us when they created this deposit in terms of the geometry they put it in the ground. It makes it very amenable to much lower cost mining. It's subvertical. You can access it from the bottom. Clearly, there's an opportunity here to grow a lot more. We were already onto a second deposit. We think there's other deposits to be found. And ultimately, we think it's very permittable. We do have a lease with a native corporation in Alaska. They have ownership rights of the land. It's basically fee simple land that they own, and they will be direct beneficiaries of any revenues generated from the project. This is, a new slide I've put together. One of the unique characteristics of the project, or unique opportunities, I should say, is its location essentially on tidewater. We'd have to build about a 15-mile road to connect us with the coast. And what that means, it actually offers up the opportunity to direct ship your ore and process it somewhere else. There's a trend in our industry. We're seeing the senior producers often do this now. Well, they'll supplement their existing mine with ore from another location. Marine transport is far and away the lowest cost form of transportation. There's an asset in Alaska right now where they're starting to, they made a decision to mine, and then they will be in production here by this time next year. So in the span of 2 years, they've gone from, hey, let's build a mine, to being permitted to producing gold. Well, they're trucking it 250 miles. So this sort of thing is a very doable thing. And one of the big advantages is it keeps your capital expenditure very low. It's much lower hurdle to get your project built. There's a lot lower execution risk. And they're also a lot simpler to permit and build. There's no tailings and mill on site. You're simply mining the ore and sending it somewhere else. So it's something that we're looking at seriously. It doesn't preclude us developing something standalone. It just gives us the option for both. Now, just looking at exploration, as a project, it's got tremendous exploration upside. For the last 3 years, we've been on OPAC's top 10 list for global drill intersections. We've produced some monster drill hits here. This year's highlight was 120 meters of 18 grams per ton gold. That came with 0.55% copper and just under 4% zinc. It was a really, really nice drill intersection. This is a project that generates those types of hits. Last year, we came number 3 on the list from a prospect 4 kilometers away, where we drilled over 500 grams gold over 6.5 meters. So that's basically speaking directly to the exploration upside and the potential to grow more ounces here. This is a view of the property and the district sort of scale potential. We have about a 10-kilometer trend of multiple prospects that we're exploring and will continue to explore. Ellis Zone is the one I was referring to. It was the new discovery we made. We have growth upside on our existing deposit, but our intention this year is to follow up on last year's success and actually frame a maiden resource on this second deposit while we're continuing to drill elsewhere as well. So switching gears, just moving to the Yukon now. This is the Titina Gold Belt you can see, and within that there's a subbelt called the Tombstone Gold Belt. And basically those are deposits that are associated with a Cretaceous age intrusive rocks. There's a couple operating mines, Kinross's Fort Knox mine, Victoria Gold's Eagle mine within that belt. They're known for being very large endowments of gold, generally low grade, but very attractive deposits. We are at the very east end of that. Our neighbors have really put this east end of the camp on the map, and that's Snowline. They had a very, very successful year. They made what I think is Canada's most significant new discovery in the past year at their Valley prospect. And they found one of these types of deposits. But what really just differentiates it, it's about 4 times the grade of what they usually are. Usually they're a half gram or so. They're hitting 200-300 meters plus of 2-gram material. That makes a big difference in terms of the economics of these types of projects. So we're sitting very central to their land package. We're right in the middle, actually. They're above us and below us. Our other neighbor is Fireweed Metals. It's a major zinc project that Lundin Group just sunk $25 million into. You can see the North Canal Road on the lower right of this. So we're just about 40 kilometers off of that along an old winter access route. Zooming in, this is a project that was staked in 2010 and 2011 and hasn't seen any work since. It was all part of a big Nevada-style gold rush in that part of the world. We didn't find a Nevada-style system. We found an intrusive-related system, and it's sat there ever since. We've dusted it off, but it's got a beautiful drill-ready gold and soil anomaly. I'll just highlight the main Tut anomaly is 3 or 4 kilometers in length. The one on the left there called Golden Mask, that's a 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer grid that's undrilled and drill ready. It's directly comparable in terms of geologic setting to Snowline's Valley discovery. These models geologically are very simple. You're looking for the upper parts of an intrusive body that's generally 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer or less. That's where the mineralization likes to occur. Top left here, I just did a side-by-side of their soil grid from 2021 when they actually put their first holes into this on the edge of it. And on the right is 2-scale our soil anomaly. Very comparable tenor and scale of soil anomaly. They have 3 or 4 samples above a gram in soils. We have 3 or 4 samples above a gram in soils. Similar extent, just waiting to be drilled. So in addition to that, we have a big portfolio in Timmins. I'll go through this fairly quickly, but this is truly mine country. In this field of view, I was flying around Timmins earlier this fall, and I took this picture, and then I started adding up the ounces and endowment that's there. It's insane how much gold is in this part of the world. That giant corridor you saw projects straight towards our Gold Mile property. We've got some great targets there. Munro Croesus, further on the right, we spent a lot of work consolidating what was a very fragmented patchwork of different patents over the last few years. We have now consolidated that, went out, made a new discovery actually. It wasn't earth-shattering grades. It was 63 meters at 0.8 grams, but that's exactly the kind of grade and width you're seeing at our next door neighbor's deposit, Fengib, where they've got 3.5 million ounces, and Monetta's 12 million ounce endowment. So it's a great start. We're really looking forward to getting after that as well. So with that, I'll just wrap this up. There's a lot to cover when you're kind of talking about 2 companies in one. And really it is a 2-for-1 opportunity, I think, for investors right now. You will receive a free dividend of Onyx shares, and generally when you look at these types of transactions in the past, you create value pretty instantly through that process. Johnson Tract has, in our view, one of the higher quality, high grade deposits out there. Excellent exploration upside, and we're focused on de-risking the project and working it down the path to potential production. The new spin out gives you a direct drive exposure to one of the most exciting new districts in Canada. We'll be drilling, and as well as one of the most established camps in the country. We've got a strong treasury with 8 million cash right now, and we're trading at a steep discount to our past few financings. And that is pretty much the story. 73 million shares outstanding, market cap of about 50 million right now. Great shareholder registry. Thank you.